Sujay, a Feng Shui intuitive here to empower you to this ancient Feng Shui knowledge. Today, I want to introduce you to my home, Charlie. Charlie was my very first home that truly supported me. And yes, there really is such a thing. Just like our human relationships, some homes simply resonate with us better than others. And let me tell you, finding a home that naturally supports you is a true gift. Even though Charlie isn't the biggest and the fanciest place I ever lived, she has been that home that brought me the greatest sense of peace and joy. Every time I walk through that front door, I really feel like being hugged by her. So I've only lived here for about a year and a half, and I've experienced more beautiful moments in this home than any other place I ever lived. And that says a lot because I moved and lived in so many, many homes. Unfortunately, I'll be saying goodbye to Charlie this September because I originally came to live in South Korea to accompany my elderly parents, and now they're moving to a different part of Seoul, and I have to part with Charlie to move with them. So I'm making this video for one, to document Charlie because I honestly already miss her and I haven't even left yet. Two, I want to share exactly how I designed and remedied Charlie with Feng Shui in mind, and you'll see how Feng Shui can be beautifully integrated into a home without using any outdated Feng Shui items. In fact, I don't have any of those, or maybe one or two. And I'm proud to say almost everyone walking into Charlie comments on how beautiful and peaceful and welcoming she feels. And I also want to share that my life has unfolded in the best way possible since moving here and putting everything I've learned about Feng Shui into a practice for this home. It has truly become a reflection of everything I teach. By the way, if you're curious about how I found Charlie, I have a separate video where I share the entire process of how a Feng Shui expert chooses their home. So be sure to watch that one after this one. And now, without any further delay, welcome to my home, Charlie. Let's go. Let's start from the front entrance. You'll see from the floor plan that my entrance is located in the bottom center. When you walk in, you're greeted by the small foyer with the built-in shoe closets on both sides. Honestly, this is Feng Shui person street. This is typical in all Korean homes, and I wish everyone can adopt this. There's plenty spaces here for all of our shoes, so we use most of the storage for crafts, artwork, and all of the countless hats and scarves that we have, including walking supplies for my dog, Honey. Last year, I had this giant heart poster on the front entrance as a Feng Shui remedy. But this year, the remedy is metal that I've hidden underneath the shoe cabinet along with my saltwater cure. Now, let's talk about the floor. Originally, it was a plain white marble, but I wanted the foyer to feel more grounded. I added these checkerboard floor tiles because the square shape represents the earth element, which naturally creates stability and grounding. Plus, I just love how playful they look. I think it's important for your front entrance to represent you because this is the first impression, and for me, they set that tone of funness for the rest of the home. Also, I hung this tiny chime by the entrance. It's delicate, sounds beautiful, and gently clears the energy every single time I go in and out of this door. So let's talk about the biggest challenge I had to cure for Charlie, the fast chi. My front door lines up almost directly with the balcony door in front, which rushes the energy straight out the big balcony door instead of settling in. Fast chi like this can create money loss, and that's not okay with me. Since there wasn't enough space to redirect the flow with furniture, I chose a different solution, which is the curtain right here, as well as a curtain by the balcony door. Finally, I hung a Feng Shui crystal at the end of the curtain. This is one of my favorite cures for fast chi. Instead of letting the energy rush straight out, crystal slows the energy down and let it circulate throughout the home. I like that it's hidden too. You won't notice it unless you're really looking for it. Let's move into the living room. When I first came to view Charlie, there was a large love seat that completely dominated the space. Since it was a small apartment, I knew I had to think differently. Instead of one big sofa, I chose two swivel chairs. I love how space efficient they are, but also they can be rotated to my personal auspicious directions. If you didn't know, there is directions that you can face that influences the type of energy you receive. So having chairs that swivel gives me so much flexibility. And I chose these IKEA chairs and matching footstool because I knew I could easily use them in any other place. And this rug actually came with me all the way from Portland, Oregon. I bought it from a friend's beautiful rug shop, and I still love it. Besides adding warmth and color, rugs are wonderful feng shui tools because they anchor the energy and clearly define each living spaces. For the coffee table, I chose something low and organic with rounded edges. In small homes, curves create better flow, while sharp edges can become poison arrows that subtly affect your energy. You'll notice almost nothing in Charlie has sharp edges, and if it does, I've softened them or remedied. The cabinet behind me is my altar. I intentionally chose a darker curved credenza because every room can benefit from having one substantial, heavy piece that can anchor the space. Inside are my incense, oracle cards, crystals, everything I need for meditations. Above it, it hangs our ink paintings that my partner and I created together. It's about awakening and opening our third eye. Korean writing says woo-woo, which is just an inside joke. Beside, it is my beloved spirit animal, Georgie, who passed away in 2023. Rest in peace. He's still part of my home. Hidden around the corner is another saltwater cure in my north sector. It's tucked away where no one can see it and won't be disturbed. This floor lamp from IKEA is probably my favorite lamp ever. I actually own 3 of them in my home. I love the soft round shape because it brings gentle grounding feeling into every room. One of my favorite rituals is sitting here in front of my altar to meditate. If you ever struggled with meditation, here's my advice. Create space that you genuinely want to sit in. Add your favorite cushion, candles, incense, lighting. Create an atmosphere your higher self wants to spend time in. If you follow me on social media, you'll probably recognize that this background is where I film most of my videos. And over here is my water feature. This area of my home benefits from moving water, but my home requires 2 running waters and I didn't want 2 noisy fountains running all at once. So I found the perfect solution, which is a cat water fountain. It's completely silent, has a built-in filter, and honestly works so beautifully. You'll also notice I have several lamps throughout the room. Layering light is one of my favorite design techniques. Instead of relying on one harsh ceiling light, I create soft pools of light throughout the space. It instantly changes how a room feels, especially during the darker winter months. This large rug also is Honey's favorite place to enjoy her treats. She definitely has expensive taste. What do you think? I cover the intercom here with a small mirror surrounded by the handmade yarn art. It is much nicer to look at than the intercom. It also gently draws the eye instead of letting it shoot straight out to the balcony. Finally, you'll notice curtains and plants by the balcony. Since my front door lines up with the balcony, they both help to slow down the fast chi. And guess what this is? This is our TV stand that I made a cover to cover it up when we're not using and we're just seeing a beautiful punch needle piece. Here's another corner that I needed to remedy with poison arrows. I placed the light here, which can really soften the corners, and definitely these macrame yarns are helping to soften the edges. This, by the way, is actually our laundry basket, but you won't know what that is. It's just a little divider between our dining and our living room. And once again, curved edges. And I have some crystals here to help to ground the area. Another piece I want to mention is the metal wind chime that I have in my balcony. I really love the sound of it every time the wind hits the wind chime. Let's move to my kitchen located in the south sector of my home, my abundance sector. Charlie doesn't have a big kitchen, but it has cute mid-sized refrigerator, a sink, and an island with the built-in microwave. Normally, the refrigerator is a big metal object in our space, but I'm not a big fan of this because in a small space, it can really dominate the space. Fortunately for Charlie, the refrigerator is hidden almost like part of the cabinetry. I also prefer that the sink and the stove is not seen from the entrance, so I really like that about Charlie too. One thing though, I wish that Charlie had was a bigger stove with 4 burners because she only has 2. And another thing is that the washer machine is beneath the stove. This is not ideal obviously because washer is a water element that can dim the fire energy of the home, which symbolizes wealth for the home. Energy of the washer does not go hand in hand with building of wealth, so this was not okay with me. However, moving the appliance was not an option for me, so instead I placed a small mirror on top of the washer machine facing up to energetically create distance between the washer and my stove. They do this quite often to the small studio apartments, so if this is you, you can use this cure. As mentioned earlier, this is my wall sector of my home, so I keep this area extra tidy. I'm diligent about clearing out any dirty dishes right away, and I also take out my garbage regularly. Of course, all garbage basket is hidden inside my sink cabinet and no knife visible here. Not in my kitchen. No. They're all safely stored inside the jar. Here in this section, I have my wealth altar that looks out to the rest of my home. It is a fun one where I keep all my little figurines that I've collected over the years through my travels. They're all my support system, my family, my community. It makes perfect sense to store them all here because this is the east sector of my home, which is all about family and community. I also have one plant here to represent growth and expansion. Also, a small rug here is made by my loving partner Jeff, and it helps to anchor and define our kitchen space. I also have a small mirror by the sink because this area is a place where the energy can feel a bit stuck. The mirror here helps to open up the space and also allows me to be in my command position even though I have my back to the door. Also, can't forget about our space for Honey. This is where she eats, and I made this beaded curtain for her, representing who she is, and the rug, which is also made by me. My dining room is a little nook next to my kitchen island, and when I first came to see this home, I knew this was one area where the energy felt dark. In fact, the first time I was space clearing this area, I felt an entity in this exact spot. It is also this area that has the hardest energetic blueprint for my home. There's a lot of heavy karmic energy here, which can bring illnesses and accidents if not properly remedied. So again, the remedy here was metal, and you can see how I placed it as an object using a metal kettlebell. What do you think? The area here is quite small and tight, and this is why I needed a large mirror to expand the energy. It's not easy to place heavy mirror on the wall here, so I decided to get this really thin acrylic mirror, and honestly, it works fine. It's on the wall paper and with the command strip. This is another area where I felt big shift with this cure. The mirror here wasn't optional for me, it was necessary. I also have a bookshelf here, but since the energy here is quite heavy, I keep this area to a minimum. Only a few books just as a decoration. One other thing I needed to mention here is the sharp poison arrow that I could feel every time I'm in this area. So this is a macrame string that I place over the corner, and just like that, the space feels so much more gentle. The artwork here is also made by me and Jeff. This is a drawing of a digestive tract with the word that says la 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 in Korean. To me, this artwork reminds me to digest everything in life with humor, including food, emotions, and all of our life challenges. And honestly, it is the perfect art piece for this area because I need to keep the color here metal, which is white, grays, pastels, and metallic tones. So I like that it's a simple black and white drawing that I can place it here in my dining with the intention to lighten up. Especially about family matters, as it's still the area pertaining to the family in my home, which is the East. And true story, since I've remedied and placed artwork here, my family situation around my dad's health has significantly gotten easier, in some ways better. So never underestimate the power of artwork in your space. By the way, if you're wondering what this pillow is doing over here, it is for our dog Honey, who likes to sleep here when we're eating. If you have a dog, you know they require more than 2 beds because they want to be with you all the time. Let's now move into our office, because I use this space with Jeff. The room is in the brightest sections of our home, so I like that we can be our desk and still have a lot of natural light while we're working. You'll notice that the desk is in the middle of the room, and yes, that was intentional because it allowed us to sit in our command position as well as to sit to our best personal wealth direction. I try to keep this area clean and simple as possible, and obviously with a lot of rounded edges, because when it comes to small spaces, any sharp corners not only deplete the energy as a poison arrow, they slow down the energy as well. With the curved furniture, things just flow with ease. I forgot to mention it, but my dining table is also rounded edges. In fact, there's no sharp edges allowed in my home. The cabinet I found for this room had to be in this specific size, and unfortunately I couldn't find anything with rounded edges. So I decided to place the fabric over the top to soften the edge. And I also placed this artwork here made by my friend Sarah. Shout out to the sweetest artist living in Portland, Oregon in this corner. I'm not a fan of these small mirror objects because they can really scatter your energy, but in this case, I think it works fine and I really love it. I have plants and water fountains here because this area is all about activating my peach blossom, aka attraction energy. If you found me, it could be the power of this water fountain that brought you to me. I love plants and I'm careful not to overdo the plants here. And yes, that is a thing. You can have too many plants that can create more trouble than peace. So be aware. On the corner here, I have a singing bowl and I use it to clear the energy daily. And I really love my crystal singing bowl. It's the best investment ever. Let's go to my desk area. It's a simple setup. My laptop, Palo Santo for clearing, my essential oils, crystals, and metal pyramid sculptures made by an artist, Subin, that was gifted, and I really love it. It creates focus and clarity that I need in my desk, and I center love every time I sit here. Below me is my dog's bed. It's awesome to have her in my office. I love putting my feet on her warm bed, and it's literally the best setup. I also have the little section by the corner to keep all my Feng Shui books that I reference daily. My wealth jar, of course. By the way, my office is located in the Northeast, and I couldn't ask for a better location for the work that I do. I spend a lot of time meditating and reading people's homes, so I'm so grateful for this space. In front, we place artwork made by my partner Jeff, and to the side is my spirit dog Georgie, painted by another artist, Sally. She has the best energy, and it shows through the pet portraits that she makes for grieving pet parents. She's really lovely. Shout out to her if you're in Portland, Oregon, looking for a new home. She's also a licensed real estate agent. Lastly, I have a small bell attached to the door by the knitted chain that I made. It makes lovely chime as I open and close the door. Okay, now let's move to the other side of the home where my bedroom and the bathroom is located. This is the only space where I felt that the full-size mirror can work. I'm always into curves and arches, if you haven't noticed, so of course my full-size mirror too. I have a small rug here that I made, and of course that sign says, take off your shoes. This is drawn by Jeff, and we're really proud of this piece. You also see that I have a salt lamp here, and yes, this is a remedy for my home, which brings me prosperity and respect. On the left is my bathroom. It is very simple. I keep it really minimal and obviously door closed at all times. This is the southwest sector, which is all about relationship. And this is my bathroom where the energy is always depleting. My cure was to have the light and fan on most of the time. And I know some people might say it's waste of energy, but for me, it's worth every penny to spend the money to have the light and the fan on all the time for harmony of my life. On the opposite side of the bathroom is my bedroom, and honestly, it's too close to the bathroom for my comfort. So I placed a semi-curtain here with the macrame yarn that I made and the Feng Shui crystal placed to generate more energy between the two distinct areas. I do keep my bedroom door closed as well for the most part. My bedroom is tiny, and some people might think that's not good, but for me, I really like it because it really helps me to focus the energy into just resting and sleeping. It is also the darkest part of the home, so I'm really grateful because it's the right match. It's just big enough for two lights that I can place on top of the bench. Again, I didn't want to clutter this area, so I kept it extremely simple. The closet is on the left and it's tiny, and I share it with Jeff. We both tend to love clothes and it can get crowded. So having small closet and also having the experience of living tiny really helps us to declutter regularly. I don't have anything on my wall for my bedroom, and some people might think that's weird, but for me, less is more for the bedroom, especially because it's a small space. I don't want anything to really overpower our space, just calm and serenity. So I hope you enjoyed the tour and learned a thing or two to implement for your own home. If you watched this far, thank you for being here and being part of my community. I'll see you soon. Bye!